Hello, thank you for this opportunity. I'm John, I'm Belgian, and I studied my Master's in Public Health at the Institute of Tropical Medicine. In my dissertation, I tried to understand why we see disproportionate suicide rates amongst indigenous populations, and indigenous youth in particular. How can we, for instance, explain that despite years of culturally adapted mental health policies in countries such as Australia, Aboriginal youngsters continue to take their own lives? And what can we learn from those experiences to prevent indigenous youth suicide in the Andean region in Latin America? Cultural discontinuity, historical trauma and post-colonial distress, and the lack of self-determination appear to be important explanations. So, indigenous youth suicide should be studied from a social justice perspective, as opposed to the more dominant psychocentric framings. The most effective interventions appear to be the ones that are rooted in indigenous knowledge systems. But how to actively engage with these knowledge systems, including indigenous research paradigms, as part of a broader decolonization process, remains a question of further inquiry.
Hello everybody, I am Tatiana and I am a medical doctor working with the Ministry of Health in Cameroon. I chose to work on quality of life in people living with HIV because this area of research is relatively less explored, whereas it is as important as the clinical aspect as it can affect HIV treatment uptake and adherence. In this case, people living with HIV remain infectious, they do not achieve viral suppression, and are able to transmit the virus. And this may impede on many years of research and progress already made in HIV management. The scoping review findings revealed that in the sub-Saharan African context, the environmental domain was the most affected, with psychosocial factors like stigma and discrimination negatively impacting this domain. Unfortunately, there was a research gap in effective interventions that could significantly improve this dimension of quality of life. And this implies that we need to redirect focus and attention towards development of such interventions to be able to improve the HIV continuum of care. And this supports the fact that quality of life should be made an official target to bring about global mobilization against stigma and other psychosocial factors if we are to effectively control the HIV epidemic. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Can Malik. I'm a medical doctor from Germany who just graduated from the MTM program at the Institute of Tropical Medicine in Antwerp. Tuberculosis, or short TB, is still one of the leading killers worldwide, and especially drug-resistant TB is very difficult to treat. For my master's thesis, I had a closer look at the new anti-TB drug beta-kilin. To be specific, at the frequency of acquired resistance against this drug. I found out that on average, 2 to 4% of patients treated with beta-kilin do develop resistance against it. Additionally, I discovered that an effective composition of treatment regimens seems to play a bigger role than just adding a lot of various drugs to a treatment plan. And, particularly in low-resource settings, we need to make sure that every patient has access to drug susceptibility testing to detect resistance before and during treatment. We all want to win the fight against TB, but if we don't want to lose one of our best weapons, we need to provide all of our current and future patients with the possibility to receive proper treatment and care.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Hendrik Swanepoel. I'm a South African veterinarian and I currently live and work in Australia. The topic of my thesis is viral diseases in African ungulates, and the aim is to identify knowledge gaps with regards to these diseases and add to the current global knowledge base. At the time of writing, there was no comprehensive publication investigating viral diseases in African ungulates. Viral diseases make up a significant proportion of emerging infectious diseases. Often, the management and prevention of viral diseases in Africa prove to be challenging due to the large reservoir host populations made up of African wildlife. A variety of viruses have been diagnosed in African ungulates, and all the African ungulate species included in this study have had one or more viruses and or viral diseases associated with them. The findings of this study will be useful to policymakers, funding bodies, researchers, and other stakeholders who need an understanding of viral diseases in African ungulates. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elias m.b.t from the DRC. For my dissertation, I basically want to determine the drivers of the intra-household decision to flee in the face of the 2021 volcano eruption in Goma, Eastern DRC. For that end, I collect quantitative data from a sample of 642 households. From regression analysis, I found that more risk-averse people are more likely to flee. So were people who perceive the risk of being hit by the lava flow is higher, suggesting that policymakers should adopt risk-based communication strategies if they are to hold people comply with the evacuation order. Second, I found also that wealthier people were less likely to flee, probably fearing for the security of their goods. I also found that people who trust less in the city authorities were less likely to flee. From this, I conclude that since disasters are inherent to human life, strengthening city capacity in terms of security, access to information and credibility can help to increase people's willingness to comply with evacuation orders and hence reduce human and material damages. Finally, I would like to thank the Province of Antwerp for the award. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Busani Mashawanyati and I'm from Zimbabwe. My dissertation was titled Devolution of Power in Zimbabwe, a Political Economy Analysis. It sought to critically examine political dynamics and institutional and legal elements that affect the devolution of power in Zimbabwe. Most decentralization studies have focused on the outcome of decentralization reforms and less on the micro elements that make decentralization work. Hence the focus of the study on the underlying elements that affect devolution in Zimbabwe. Through a political economy analysis, the study identified that political contestation and polarized political opinions, dynamics in political will, the lack of a legislative framework, weak central-local government relations, centralization and re-centralization all created an unconducive environment for devolution to take center stage in Zimbabwe. With this in mind, there is need for strengthening the legal framework, enablement of sound intergovernmental relations, and most importantly, political will with corresponding action in order to create a fruitful ground for devolution to take root in Zimbabwe. Lastly, I would like to thank the Province of Antwerp for this award. Thank you.
I'm Marjorie and I'm from the Philippines. I studied Master of Globalization and Development at the Institute of Development Policy at the University of Antwerp. I thank my professors for guiding me and the Province of Antwerp for this award. My dissertation is titled Ambitious Goals or Shifting Costs, What Net Zero Means for Fairness and Justice in Climate Action. Net zero promises by governments and other actors made me curious if these are aligned with climate justice. So I wondered, what are the net zero promises that are being promoted and what do these mean for fairness and justice in climate action? I found out that 1. Net zero disregards the various injustices inflicted in the Global South by the proposed net zero solutions of transition minerals, REDD+, and biofuels. 2. Net zero shifts the burden of reducing carbon emissions from the Global North to the Global South. And 3. Net zero maintains the global capitalist system that has led to and is worsening climate change. Because of these 3 factors, net zero undermines climate justice and has created its own conditions for failing to mitigate climate change. The analysis suggests that there is a need for further research into alternative climate solutions outside the capitalist framework. These will guide paths towards environmental sustainability and social justice. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Celine de Leeuw. I work for the Institute for the Equality of Women and Men, and as a working student, I recently obtained my master's degree in social work from the University of Antwerp. I examined a European-funded pilot project for third country national victims of human trafficking, which means from countries outside of the EU, like African countries or Morocco. The project was run by PAOK and CAW in Antwerp and aimed at facilitating long-term integration by providing temporary housing and working on the independence of the victim through various interventions like workshops, a buddy, and individual assistance. I found that there are 2 critical preconditions for victims and social workers being able to work on independence and self-reliance. First of all, having a safe place to live, and second of all, a trusting relationship with their social worker. If this base is established, the results additionally suggest the program contributes to a sustainable and long-term integration by social workers focusing on empowerment, generalist work, tailored work, and proximity through outreach. As I wanted to write a thesis that added something to the scientific body of knowledge as well as having a practical and social relevance, this topic was ideal. So I want to finish off by thanking everyone that contributed and of course a big thanks to the province of Antwerp for this award. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Silke Philips. I'm a student of occupational therapy at the Artesius Plantijn University College of Applied Sciences here in Antwerp, and I'm very glad to be here as a representative of Team Included. So in the spring semester of 2021, I had the opportunity to participate in the European project semester instead of writing a thesis. The project semester is when students from all over Europe come to Antwerp to work in interdisciplinary teams. The project work is hands-on and practice-oriented. So our team consisted of students from different study programs such as visual media design, business management, social work, journalism and graphic design. This ensured that everyone had their own contribution to the project. So we as Team Included took on an assignment for a real client, the non-profit organization Handicap International. The assignment was to help them raise awareness among young people for the work this organization does for people with disabilities worldwide and the need for social inclusion of these people. What have we come up with? We have built an escape room that youngsters can play to literally experience what it is to live with disabilities. The escape room can be made available to schools as a learning tool for young people to learn about disabilities and find out how client approaches disabilities and what exactly is the work they do. I was very motivated to work on this team as I am personally committed to help assure and improve the inclusion of people in a society and also to be able to make a difference.
Hi everyone, I'm Tika and I've made a piece called Precious People. I graduated with a bachelor's degree at St. Lucas School of Arts in jewelry. I've made this little boat. It's filled with brilliant cut stones, and they refer to the people in the boat, which are refugees. Normally precious stones are set in precious metals, but Europe seems to doubt about the value of people and of refugees. So I've made two versions. This one is in wood and is a real situation. The other one is in silver and is my wish for them. Along the process, I discovered that people like to look at anything that is beautiful, and the refugee situation is not. But the viewer is attracted by the beauty and the richness of this piece, after which it is difficult to look away without consciously reflecting upon it. I've done a lot of voluntary work with children on the streets, and I was wondering what I could do as a studying mom for the refugee situation. So I've made this piece, and I hope that some people can revalue refugees as the gems they are. Thank you.
Dear audience, I'm Julie and a student at the Department of Speech-Language Pathology and Audiology at Thomas More University of Applied Sciences in Belgium. I am honored to be one of the award winners of this prize. During my thesis, I used a mixed model designed to build on previous research, which revealed that 789 Surinamese 5-year-olds underperformed on overall language assessment, the Self Preschool 2 NL, compared to Flemish peers. The central aim of my study was to analyze the underlying cause of this underperformance. In addition to a quantitative analysis, I also performed a qualitative analysis where 6 Surinamese SLPs were asked to thoroughly analyze the self. I concluded that the self, although it is a Dutch language instrument, shows cultural and linguistic bias when used in Suriname. For example, in one subtest, children have to name a carrot, a common vegetable in Belgium. However, this is unfamiliar to Surinamese kids. They say kouseband, which is a common vegetable there. I concluded my thesis with some suggestions to overcome these biases. Given my interest in other cultures, I enjoyed working with people on the other side of the world, and it turned out to be a very enriching experience. Again, I would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity to share my work. Thank you.